we'll start there. You guys don't need your videos. If you don't want to have them on, that's fine. I'm going to be turning mine off and just sticking it, just keeping to the slides itself. So hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I think we're all right to move forward. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. I'll go ahead and start sharing my presentation again. All right, everybody see that okay? All right. Again, if you just please do me a favor and just mute your audio system until the end, and we'll take questions at the end. Okay, so for those of you that aren't aware, the Water Protection Fund is a competitive state grant program that provides funding for projects that will protect water quality and quantity, primarily to maintain, enhance, and restore river and riparian resources across the state. We also support projects that benefit fish and wildlife that are dependent on riparian habitats. So the overall program objectives, the program wants to provide measurable benefits to the water resources of Arizona through broad-based local support, provide positive examples for projects for other interested applicants and existing applicants to have a database and project reports and stuff that'll be resources for others that might have interest in doing similar type projects. We'd like to advance the field of water conservation knowledge in Arizona as it pertains to restoring and enhancing riparian habitats, and also to increase the public awareness of the function and value of riparian resources in Arizona. Again, this is done through our projects. You know, we do request final reports and documentation of the work that's being done. So again, those are all available for public use in the future. A few principles for the program. Projects should reflect a bottom-up approach rather than a top-down solution to river and riparian projects. And by this, the Water Protection Fund supports locally acceptable solutions rather than have the state dictate specific projects, measures, or areas that folks should be working for. Again, we'd like the people that are on the ground, people that have the knowledge of the land, to be the ones that are proposing the projects and to bring those solutions forward for funding consideration. And the Water Protection Fund Commission's priority is to fund high quality on the ground solutions. And I will be going over the commission in a bit, but just want to let you know that there's a statutorily appointed commission that oversees this program. And as such, since they want to see on the ground solutions, a majority of the funds that we have available for funding through this program are allocated for capital type projects, which essentially just means something that is done on the ground type of work, or a restoration type project. Okay, I'll go over some general project guidelines. So the Water Protection Fund supports projects that demonstrate direct benefits to perennial or intermittent rivers or streams. We also do fund many projects that have taken place in ephemeral washes as well, as long as it's tied to a riparian benefit. We do projects that protect or restore native riparian vegetation and habitat, projects that restore hydrologic conditions and functions, stream geomorphology and general channel, stream channel characteristics, projects that restore wetlands and backwaters. We've also started moving to improving watershed conditions. Again, these are probably like forest thinning type projects, more upland projects, again, that have more of a watershed as a whole benefit. The Commission has been supporting those projects recently. As I mentioned earlier, projects that restore habitat needs for fish and wildlife that are dependent on riparian habitats. And we also do support projects that decrease negative impacts of non-native species to riparian areas. For example, salt cedar removal projects, invasive species within the riparian corridor. The Commission does support those projects favorably. For fiscal year 2024, there's going to be three funding categories we're going to be funding projects at. The first is going to be capital projects. And again, as I mentioned earlier, these are on-the-ground projects that directly maintain and enhance river and riparian resources. Again, projects that also benefit fish and wildlife. I do have some language in here that acquisition of Central Arizona project water or effluent to restore and maintain river and riparian sources could be considered a capital project. And we also do fund feasibility of design studies if they investigate the feasibility of implementing a specific capital project. So sometimes we've had in the past grantees that will do a feasibility to see, does this project, is it going to be, are we going to be able to implement it based on data collection, funding availability, permitting, X, Y, and Z. And again, the hope at the end is that the commission does fund a feasibility project like this, that you would come back in a future grant cycle to request the fund to actually implement that project. So that would be considered under our capital projects category. The commission will be funding research. Again, this is just innovative research and data collection efforts related to the goals and purposes of the fund, again, directly related to river and riparian restoration. And one thing to be aware is that the amount is limited to 5% of the funds that we receive in any fiscal year. I'll go into the budget a little bit more, but the Water Protection Fund did receive a legislative appropriation this year of $1.25 million for the program. So based on that, the 5% of that is about 62,500. I have the number later on in the slide, but that's the approximate number we'll have available for research proposals this year. And the last category is water conservation. And again, these are measures to develop, promote, and implement programs designed to conserve water, again, related to the purposes of the fund. So again, there's water conservation projects out there. You really have to make sure that in your application that you tie those to how that water conservation is directly benefiting a river, stream, or riparian system in the state. A caveat on this is that any of these water conservation projects must be located outside of all 6 of the Arizona Department of Water Resources active management area. So that'll be something that we'll be looking at is during the evaluation period as well. Okay, a little bit on eligibility. So any person, organization, local, state, tribal agency, political subdivision may submit a request for funding. So pretty much everyone is eligible to submit an application. The only restrictions on that is that federal agencies are not eligible to receive funding. That was written into statute several years ago. However, funding can be awarded to projects that are implemented on federal lands. So in the past, we've had some conservation groups working in partnership with our federal agencies to do the work, to be the grantee, to be the funding, to be the ones actually implementing the project. But again, in support with the federal agencies, with the environmental compliance, and just giving the applicant themselves the ability to implement that project. So we've been able to do that. So just one thing, if you are looking to do something on federal land in your federal agency, we'll have to have someone else be the applicant and essentially manage the grant and the project for you. So a few requirements: you must have legal and physical access and authority to implement the project where it is proposed. As part of the application, you must provide appropriate documentation that any water to be used on the project is legally and physically available for the stated purpose. You must also demonstrate that any partnerships, cost share funding, access, etc., have been committed at the time of the application. If you don't have like a formal access agreement, for example, if you could submit letters of support with your application with a plan to obtain these elements prior to the grant award or until the grant award. If the commission selects your project, we'll probably, we'll write it up, but we won't have it signed until we have full, acknowledgement of access and as part of that moving forward. Another thing to be aware of is that administration costs must be limited to 5% of the total implementation funds requested. Again, administrative costs would be things like overhead. If anyone is charging overhead on their project or for the tasks or what they're worth at, per statute, we're limited to those to being 5% again. And the reason for that is the intent of the funding one again was to try to get is the most dollars to do on the ground restoration and not have a lot for overhead costs that we don't generally see. So there are some ineligible applications, and these are written in per statute, that Water Protection Fund dollars cannot be used to purchase real property or conservation easements, things like that. Projects cannot be implemented outside of the state of Arizona. We cannot fund any project that includes the planting of mesquite, tamarisk, salt cedar, or other non-native high water use trees that consume water to a degree that is detrimental to conservation efforts. We are prohibited for funding remedial actions under the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation and Liability Act, CERCLA, or the Water Quality Assurance Revolving Fund. So if there's any mitigation type projects, the Commission will not consider those. Again, going back to the research that I mentioned earlier, research projects with the funding request in excess of 5% of the total received for fiscal year 2024. Again, so that total is anything more than $62,500 in research will not be eligible. And as I mentioned again, previously, water conservation programs within an active management area cannot be considered by the Commission. So other types of ineligible applications in accordance with Commission policy, projects that are located in area with elevated levels of environmental contamination will not be eligible. Projects required as a result of a legal action by a regulatory agency. Again, I mentioned earlier, if there's a mitigation project or something, we can't use state dollars to fund those mitigation efforts. The Commission will not fund projects that are designed to meet wastewater treatment requirements. However, projects that are proposed that create or sustain riparian habitat using treated effluent or recycled water that meets relevant state and federal standards may be considered, as long as the project meets the requirements of the program, which again is directly or indirectly benefits river riparian systems. Generally, the Commission does not fund groundwater recharge or recovery projects, and these are, we're going to be trying to define that a little bit more, but in general, if there's any, direct well drilling where you're going to be directly injecting water down into the groundwater table, or actively drilling wells to recover any groundwater like that, the Commission generally does not fund those types of projects. And the last piece, projects failing to document evidence of control and tenure of the land or physical and legal availability of water rights are ineligible for funding. So earlier I briefly mentioned the Water Protection Fund Commission. I'll go over them really quick here. I'm not going to go over each person here, but just to give you an idea, so there's a legislatively appointed commission. We have 3 members that are appointed by the governor, members that are appointed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the President of the Arizona Senate. We also have a multi-county water conservation district representation, agricultural improvement district representation on the commission, and many natural resource conservation district representatives sit on this commission. We do have a space for tribal representation. However, that position has been vacant. We've been trying to get that filled. And so the members listed here on the top part of the screen here are the voting members. So these are the commission members that set policy for the program and also make grant award selections when it comes to that time. We also have some non-voting ex officio members, the director of the Department of Water Resources, the State Land Commissioner, Senator Kerr is an advisory, non-voting advisory member, and Representative David Cook is also a non-voting advisory member of the commission. So I'll touch a little bit on some of the commission priorities when they are evaluating projects. Again, as it meets the requirements of the program, projects that directly benefit perennial or intermittent rivers or streams, or that otherwise increase the supply of water. Projects that provide matching monies or assets of comparable value, including in-kind contributions from other sources. Projects that provide for the continued maintenance of the portion of the river, stream, and associated habitat that are enhanced by the project. Again, looking at long-term maintenance. And projects that include broad-based local involvement. And that kind of ties to what I mentioned earlier. The program really supports broad-based local efforts. So if you have the local, your local constituents, any affected parties, if they're all involved, the commission likes to see that everyone in the area, is involved and has some buy-in or at least some support for the projects that you're proposing. So some other priorities, projects that enhance or maintain river and stream resources in headwater streams and watersheds that will provide direct improvements to water quality and or increase water quantity. Projects that address degraded watershed health conditions or impacts to perennial streams through the implementation of scientifically based restoration projects. And if for the purposes of water conservation projects, those where the applicant estimates the amount or increase of the water savings and how that estimate was determined. Okay, I'll touch over the application requirements on the next few slides. So some important notes for fiscal year 2024. Applications are only be accepted electronically via the eCivis grant management software system. A direct link is currently available on the Water Protection Fund website, and I'll show you there before we close out here how to access that. We're not accepting hard copies anymore. And in order to apply through the eCivis program, you'll need to create a user account for that, and I'll briefly show you how to get into that as well. As part of the grant application manual, if you're not able to download it, is currently available on the Water Protection Fund website. And Appendix B has the application submitted user's guide to help folks get started. And one thing to keep in mind is that all your application documents will need to be developed electronically, or if they're not electronically, converted to an electronic format, scanned, for example, or a picture or something, and uploaded into the eCivis grant application portal. So just keep that in mind. If you do have access to the application manual, all the contents are listed on page 12. There's a pretty long list of the applications that are the contents that are required for that. As part of this process, I have created some electronic forms or templates that are available in Microsoft Word or Excel format. These 6 or 7, 8 are listed here, but I did want to inform you that these forms do not constitute the entire application package. So these include the cover page, executive summary template, project overview, project location, scope of work, the grant application budget templates for both Water Protection Fund request and any matching or cost share dollars you might have, the Arizona watershed map, and the State Historic Preservation Office form. So continuing on this, the eCivis application portal allows applicants to submit all the information in the sequence provided in the contents overview. So I've set that up, and I'll show you how that looks in a bit. And one thing to note is that the grant application cover page and the State Historic Preservation Office preservation forms must be signed by the legally authorized person who is submitting the application and uploaded those into eCivis. And if you are not aware, the application deadline is Friday, August 25th at 11:59 p.m. At that time, the eCivis system will shut down. So give you the whole day, hopefully, to finish up any submitting application if you're running a little bit late there. Okay, and for those that are interested in sticking around after the talk and after all the questions are done, like I said, I will be giving a quick demonstration about the portal, how to get it, what it looks like, what you can expect to see, and how it's going to work when you're putting your application together. So we'll touch base with that after the presentation. Okay, so after you've submitted your application, we'll go over the evaluation and kind of what happens next. First of all, staff will go through an initial review just for completeness and consistency with all state statutes and commission policies. Again, going back to the eligibility slide we had before. And in the application manual, those are listed on page 5 and 6, what we'll be looking for screening wise. Then staff will go through a formal evaluation, staff evaluation based on an outline. On pages 8 and 10, there's an outline of the criteria that staff will be looking at, and will provide that review to you. Staff may request review by other state or federal agencies and or interested local governments as necessary. Again, if there's something maybe to do with water rights or something that I'm not able to determine, I might run that through our surface water program here at the Department of Water Resources. If there's any critical fish and wildlife issues, critical habitat issues that maybe the Fish and Wildlife Service might need to review and provide some comments on, I might review it or send copies of the applications to those entities for their review and comment on the proposal. And being that I do provide, my own staff review to you guys, the Water Protection Fund commissioners also do get, they do review their application individually. They may have other criteria, that they're looking at, and other things that they want to see in their proposal. So again, they'll have their own independent review, but they will also get a copy of my staff review as well. So I'll touch, these are just kind of the big points on the evaluation criteria for capital and water conservation projects. Be looking at to ensure or see how the project will enhance or maintain river and restore river, stream, and riparian resources. If the project will benefit fish or wildlife resources. The feasibility, there's several questions under that. Is there a monitoring component? If so, what are you monitoring? What parameters are going to be using? And a few other considerations, will this, could this project, benefit the local economy or local contractors, things like that. So again, in the application manual, there's those bullets are really spelled out, but they're just kind of the high level criteria that we're going to be looking at. For research projects, is the research applicable to the stated program goals? Is there a use of the scientific method as part of your research? Does your proposal include some form of publication as a deliverable and a commitment to some form of public presentation? Again, like the commission likes to see that these projects, are getting out there and educating the public when possible. Determine the feasibility of your proposal. The research results are translatable. Again, can people use them, take that information and build upon it? And again, some other considerations that are listed in the application manual. Okay, some general information on the program itself. So application process, pre-grant award. Please note that there are going to be no scope of work changes allowed during the application process. Essentially, when you submit the button and it's all cleared out, whatever you've proposed as far as budget, scope of work is all the commission's going to be able to consider at that point. We won't allow for any changes or additions or subtractions of scope of work. Again, unless the commission does that as part of a grant award contract. But during the application review process, we won't allow any changes to the application. One thing that the commission does, you as an applicant will have the option to present to the commission. These are done during a public meeting. All Water Protection Fund Commission meetings are public meetings. Again, this gives you, the applicant, the opportunity to present like a 15 minute presentation to your commission. It allows some interaction between you and the commission if there's any questions, clarifying questions that they might have on your application. And again, it just gives you to meet the commission and the commission to meet you and have you present your project in person if you like. It's not required, but it's highly recommended. So if you are fortunate enough to receive a grant award from the commission, I do send out notification letters following the grant selections, but just please note that grant award notification does not authorize immediate expenditure of funds. This grant program is a cost reimbursement program, so any payments that are made are based on actual costs. The commission is not liable for any cost or work prior to a fully executed contract agreement, which we will need to negotiate based on your application. We'll write up a scope of work and contract for this so we can pay you guys for doing the work. But again, this is all going to be based on cost reimbursement. So you as the applicant, please keep in mind that you will need to establish or at least have some type of cash flow to get things going initially. When you go put out the funds, you'll, as part of the contract, you'll go submit deliverables, reports to us. Once everything's up to date and good, you can submit a reimbursement request for those costs for doing the work that you did, and then we'll go ahead and reimburse you for those costs. As part of the application, it's on the cover page, there is an optional 20% advance that applicants can request. It cannot exceed $50,000, depending on how much grant, how much you're requesting for funding. But there's an optional for 20%, and it must be identified in the application cover page. It's a little checkbox right above the signature page on that. So I just want to let you know, if you did need some seed money to kind of get things rolling, that we do offer that option of a 20% advance. As with most contracts, Water Protection Fund contracts do contain general provisions, and those begin on page 35 of the grant application manual. Strongly recommend that you, if you have legal staff or something, to review those yourself, just to make sure that you're comfortable with those, because those are our standard grant award general provisions that we have with every contract. So again, just recommend that you look at those and make sure that you're comfortable with those moving forward in the event that you get funded, that we go into a contracting process. Some other notes, contracts agreements may extend up to 5 years, depending on the scope of work. Typically what I've seen over the last several years is, projects are usually completed within 2 to 3 years. Given the nature of restoration type projects, we understand there may be delays in getting permits, weather, access to project areas, depending on where they're at, might be issues. There might just be, change in staff that occasionally happens where things kind of get backed up. So the commission is aware of these things. So again, there are options to extend, contract agreements. Again, full commission would have to approve on those, any contract extensions or anything like that. But again, so we do have some flexibility if your project is getting a little bit delayed, but we'd like to hopefully have those all closed out and completed within 5 years. Contract amendments, like I said, are permitted after commission approval. Again, if you're changing scope of work, something happens, the commission will need to reevaluate that and offer contract amendments formally through a signed contract amendment following that. The commission, as part of our general provisions, there is a clause in there that for long-term maintenance of the project to 20 years, essentially that you would commit to maintaining and enhancing or maintaining that improvement over the next 20 years. So just be sure to read that. If you have any questions with that, we can talk, during the application process or something if you have questions about that. But that's one of our general provisions in the agreements. Please note that there will be required project site access for inspection and evaluation by staff and/or the commission. You will need to maintain adequate accounting practices and record keeping as part of this. Again, some of these projects, depending on funding awards, can get complex as far as accounting for costs and funds. So again, just be sure that you're keeping good records and accounting practices as you're spending these dollars. The commission does require that submittal of all data, results, and research gained from all projects be submitted as deliverables and as just part of the information that the program is paying for. And final presentation is requested by the commission. So this will be probably within 90 days, a couple months before your grant award contract closes out. When you're getting to that point, we'll coordinate. But we would like to get you back to the commission, in front of the commission, and provide a final presentation to them, kind of showing them what we learned, what you guys were able to complete. I know the commission really appreciates those and likes to kind of see where the dollars went and how the project went overall. Okay, so here's the schedule, kind of where we're at today. This is also available on the Water Protection Fund website, and it's also in the grant application manual if you ever need to refer back to it. So the grant application is up and available. As today, obviously, the July 12th is our workshop. So between now and the application deadline, I will make myself available for pre-application consultations. If you have anything or a draft of your application you'd like me to review prior to, I would be happy to do that. If you have any questions, even just general questions, filling out a form, or where do I find this, or how can I access this information, please reach out to me. I'm here to help you guys, complete your application as best I can and provide any support I can to you guys until the application deadline. The next one, I did have the portal to be online no later than July 21st, but I will let you know I was able to get that up early. It's actually up and running right now. It's live, so we're moving on that. Final date, as I mentioned earlier, August 25th at 11:59 p.m. As part of this process through statute, we do, there is a 45-day public comment period required. So then we'll send out legal notices, and all the applications that are submitted are posted on our Water Protection Fund website for public review and comment. If there are any affected entities, potentially like you're in the vicinity of a city, for example, or maybe near a tribal boundary, we will notify those entities, or we also notify the counties that a proposal has been submitted within the county or near a tribal boundary, or within a city. Again, just so they're notified on that. They have the option to comment on the proposals as well. So just to let you know, that'll run 45 days from September 12th or October 27th. From on or before November 3rd, I will be providing my technical staff review to the applicants and to the commission as well, based on the evaluation criteria I mentioned earlier. So tentatively right now, November 14th and 15th is when the applicant presentations are scheduled to take place to the commission. So again, if you do submit an application and maybe think now what one of those days might work better for you, depending on the number of applications, that meeting may only be one day, but right now we've set aside 2 days, depending on the number of applications we receive. But that'll be the day to present your project to the commission if you'd like. Following that public meeting, if there are any clarifying questions the commission might have, we will be doing that in writing. I'll coordinate with the commission. They'll send me any comments they have. I'll coordinate with the applicants and get your response, and I'll present it to them on November 28th, when the commission will be making their grant award selections, again at a public meeting. So we'll clarify any comments or questions that came in during that clarification time, November 16th to 27th. We'll present to the commission on the 28th, and then they'll make their grant award selections on that day. Early December, once we have all the formal projects that have been selected, I'll be sending out letters of notification to both successful and other applicants, unsuccessful applicants. And then December, January 2024 is when I'll start writing grant award contracts for the new cycle. That's all I had as far as slides. If you guys would have any questions, I'll go ahead and stop sharing this. Well, if there's any questions, I'll take any questions now. I can't see the chat. I don't know if there's any questions in the chat, Lizette.
Hey, Ruben, I have a question.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Are capital projects within an AMA eligible for grant funding?
Yes, we can do capital projects within AMAs. Yes, it's the water conservation. Yeah, it's a little tricky. I mean, we've got to kind of see exactly what you're doing, but in general, like if you're going to do a restoration project, if you're in the Phoenix MA, like along the Salt River, for example, yes, that would be fine, or along the Salt River. Yep, those are good projects. Yeah, if it's a water conservation one, we got to really be careful kind of how we approach that and what the scope is. But to answer your question, yes, we can do capital projects in AMAs.
Okay, good. It's just not research projects then.
Oh, you can do research projects. The only restriction on research projects is just the amount of funding that we'll have available for the research pool of projects in whole, which is $62,500. So again, this is all competitive. So depending on, if we have several research projects, looking at budgets and what's happening, the commission will have to make a determination on which project, or maybe they can fund all of them with the funding that's requested. So it's it all kind of depends on how many applications we get for what categories and where they're at. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay. Any other questions, concerns, comments? All right. So I stopped sharing that. Yeah, okay. If you guys want to stick around, I'll go ahead and pull up the eCivis. There's a question here. Is there a way to view past funded projects? Yes, I will. I'm actually going to go to our website right now. Let me share that for you all, and I'll kind of show you how to find that information here. Give me a second. Can you see the Water Protection Fund website? I can't tell what I'm sharing right now. Are you guys seeing the Water Protection Fund website?
Yes, I see it.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Yeah, so if you come to the Water Protection Fund website, there's a question, is there a required match? No, for the Water Protection Fund, matching funds are not required. The commission likes to see them, but yeah, it's not required as part of our program here. Okay, so we go to the homepage, click on the bar here, grant information. First, I'll go to the projects, the previously funded projects. So I have links here for all our grant cycles. I'll go to our 2022 cycle. But usually up here on the very top, we have the application selected for funding up here. And you can click on that. It'll take you to a PDF document, and these links are the links to the actual applications that were submitted for the ones for the projects that did get funded. So you guys could see, what application looks like and how much was funded, and I have that for fiscal year 22 and also for 2023. Another link up here for projects that were selected for those that are interested. So coming to our 2024 grant cycle, if we haven't seen this yet, I'll go over this real quick, just let you know where things are at. Any announcements, notifications will be posted here and at the top. Right here, the top link right now is the application manual to download. So you guys don't have that, recommend downloading and reading through that. The press release that hopefully most of you received. The application portals link is right here. I'll go ahead and I'll show you in a minute. But any of the forms that I mentioned earlier are available for download here as well. We've got the either in Word or Excel format if you guys need them. And then the schedule that we went over here, again, if you guys need to reference that from our website, it's listed here. The recording of today's webinars, I'm going to put it under here in the application workshop. It'll be another link with this recording from today's session as well. Okay, so if you're ready to apply, whenever you're ready, if you just come to this eCivis application link, click on that. It will take you to this eCivis page. So this is the solicitation that is shown publicly right now. It's also on the state of Arizona's grants resources page as an active solicitation out there. Gives you an overview of kind of what we talked about today, the summary of the program, the title. So make sure it's FY24 Arizona Water Protection Fund, AWPF. The application start date, the end date, again, is the date the application closes. Eligibility, again, these are things I went over in the workshop. Anybody's eligible except federal agencies. The financial information, I did note here that because we did get an appropriation of $1.25 million, that was what I put in this solicitation. But just as an FYI, that is what was awarded for next fiscal year. However, within our unobligated fund balance for the fund as a whole, we have about another $1.2 million of unobligated funds. So potentially the commission has, approximately maybe $2 million or so to consider for grant awards in this coming fiscal year. Again, the commission is not obligated to grant out all those monies. Again, they manage the fund and fund the projects that they'd like to. They may fund one project, they may fund 10 of them and grant out the $2 million, for example. So anyway, just wanted to let you know that there is no minimum award or maximum. You can request as much as you need to complete your project. The way that I have this eCivis set up is that you as an entity have the ability to submit multiple applications. So again, if you have 2 different projects, you can submit separate applications. The same entity can submit multiple applications if that's something you might be looking for. Again, matching funds are not required for this. And there's just some other notes here on the side. Contact information's here. Again, it's on the Water Protection Fund website and in the application manual, but if you need to contact me for whatever reason, email and phone number is listed there. And as part of this, also, again, if you didn't access this through the Water Protection Fund website, I have included all the, at least the forms that I have available for the application here as well that you can download from this page as well. Okay, so if you're ready to apply, you're ready to go, you click the apply button. It's going to look a little bit different as if you're a new user. But when I come in, this will be the first thing you see. If you don't have an account, you can click on this green button here. It says create an account. So again, it'll ask you for your name, your organization, some general contact information, email address. And then at that point, you'll be logged in as a user for eCivis. So that'll be kind of the first part of it. So once you create your user account, you'll come in and put in your login and password. And you're going to want to go into the portal login section. The grant network login is more the administrative part. So you're going to go to the portal login section. So when you come in, your home screen, again, because everyone will have their own separate account, it'll look similar to this. When you first come in, it'll most likely ask you to verify your account. So it'll go and it'll be like another login screen. You'll kind of have to log in again. It's just saying, okay, you're verifying that this is your account, login. So it'll take you to that, and then it'll take you to probably like this new page that says My Applications. It'll be blank because you won't have any applications unless you're already a user on there. But before you hit you start applying, I want you to make sure to come out and make sure that it says the FY24 Water Protection Fund solicitation that you're applying for. I did create a test one here, so I'll show you what it looks like once you actually get in and start working. But for you as a new user, you'd go create a new application for this funding source. And again, you'll probably see this. It says, welcome to the portal, first time returning users. So you'll just log in with your credentials again. But being that I want to create a new application, I'll just go back to the solicitation. And it actually automatically created that new application for me. But again, if you do that, when you log in again, you'll see this as, okay, I've started a draft application. So I have this one here, test number 1 for 2024. So once you're ready to get going, you'll click on this. There might be, see, it's asking me to log in again. So we'll do that here. So we're going to do portal login once again. And if you guys are, if anybody's ever applying and you guys have any issues getting into this, or you're not finding things or forms, please contact me. I'd be happy to sit and walk with you through this and help you guys get set up, even setting up the account or whatever assistance I can provide to help you guys. Please let me know. So once you start your application, the first question is going to be like a big blue box here. It says, please verify your profile. So again, you're just going to click on it, make sure your name, contact information, organization, all that is done. You're going to hit OK, or it might be submit or OK or verified. And then, so this will be complete. So that'll be the first thing. And then you'll have empty boxes down here that you can start your application. So once you find where you're going to be starting, I'll come start my application process since I started this one already. You're going to click on that, and then you're in. Let me see here. So it tells you how many days are left before your the due date for this solicitation. And then once you're ready to go, you'll see this open button here. And then from here, you can actually save and edit. So if you want to work on it a little bit today, come back next week and upload some more information. You can save it as you're going along. That's one nice thing about this. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. So when you're all done at the end of the day, when all the fields are complete, you can mark complete, and it'll be kind of the end, pretty much the submit button. But you do have your save draft button up here as well. So I've identified everything that is required in a red asterisk. You'll see all these things have red asterisks. So just so you know, if you're ever going through and submitting everything, if one of those required fields isn't checked or doesn't have any information on it, it won't let you submit it. And that's kind of a safety check for you to make sure that you've addressed all the required contents in there. And also, yeah, just kind of helps you guys keep track of that as well. So again, like I said, everything is going to be uploadable. So again, the templates that I provided for you, you can go out in Word, or if you want to use them in Google Docs, or however you want to format them and use them, as long as the information's in there. I've left links here that'll take you back to the Water Protection website should you need to download them. Or again, they're in the solicitation header as well. It's pretty easy. So once that's all done, you can just go to select a file, and it'll take you to wherever you have it stored on your network drive or your hard drive. You can go find your cover page form, for example. Just click on it, and it'll upload it for you, and boom, it's there. You're ready to go. And again, maybe like for the cover page, remember that you have to sign that, or someone has to sign that. So you might have to sign it and scan it and upload that PDF document. If you found that you forgot something on there, you maybe forgot to write in a dollar amount or something, or you had some other funding that you might be able to put on there, you can always come here and delete it, and then fix it and go back and select it and upload it again. So same thing for the executive summary. Once you go and write that up, you can find it here in your thing and just upload it. So it's pretty straightforward. Again, project overview, select your files. Coming down here, again, we budgets. Again, you can use, I have budget templates in Word, in Excel format. Again, if you have any other accounting software that you like to use, I set all of these to any file types, any file. So if you have Excel or whatever, Google Doc, Excel sheets or something like that, you can upload those. So again, you can just select them, upload them. If you ever need to delete them or change them, you can go delete, and then upload them again. So essentially lay these out for all the application components that are listed in the grant application manual. I think it's page 12, that had all the application requirements. I've gone through and created fields for each of those. For some of these, like for let's say the location maps, again, I didn't mark this as a required thing because we would like to know where your project is located. And let's say this might be a big topographic map or something of a big area. So you can upload that as part of the required information. But if you have any other maps, maybe you have a nice little schematic, or you're zoomed in pretty good and have like some good details on some like where action is going to be taking place. I've left some of these extra fields in here that you can upload an additional map. But as long as you have one in there, to be required, we can use that. Again, so you'll see some of these that don't have specifically the asterisk on them as a required component, but again, just extra form fields should you need them. Same thing for state historic preservation office forms. We have the templates that you need to submit, sign, and submit to us. But again, if there's maybe an archaeological report that is supplemental to that, maybe there's another file or something that has pictures. Again, I just left some extra spaces to allow those to be uploaded. I did leave this key personnel section if you have, you just want to type out, who's going to be working on your project, and kind of maybe some of the experience that they have. on these types. It's just you can copy and paste from a Word document if you like and put it in there. So it's just a text field. I've left another field here if you have resumes. Some people like to submit resumes, with those and a file and attach them. Again, I left another space to add more information. Same thing with site photographs, project implementation plans. If you guys have any narrative or write-up, depending on scope of work, you can just type those, copy and paste those in there. Any existing reports or information, left some extra spaces in there as well. Community support. If there's any letters for matching funds. I did have notes here that if you have multiple documents or files to submit, consider combining them into one single file, since the system only allows one file to upload. Like again, for example, if you don't have any matching funds for your project, I would even just on a Word document just say, there are no matching funds for this application, and just upload that Word document here, just along, because it is a required field as part of the application. So even if you don't have any, even just like I said, just a quick note that no matching funds for this project are available, and and just upload it, and you'll complete that. So again, just going down through the rest of the list, these are the things to submit. So down here at the bottom, I did leave a couple text fields here, that if there's anything else that wasn't copied up here, something else you want to say about your project or what's going on in the area, you're welcome to do that. Upload any more information. I think I left 3 of those, and if there's any other files that maybe didn't fit above, maybe the project maps or something, you had a couple more that you wanted to share, but there just wasn't room in those fields above. I just left some optional files down here, upload files. And that's it. Once you, all the at least the ones with the asterisk, once all those have some type of information, this mark complete should change to, I think it might change to green to mark complete and submit. So you'll know that you have everything tied there. So again, just make sure that you have all your things uploaded. And again, as you're going through, you can always just hit save draft here and come back and work on it, as you get information. So you'll always just come back to the next thing. You don't have to do it all in one shot. That's pretty much it. Once it's all done, like I said, eCivis allows me to combine everything that's been submitted into PDF documents. It makes it a lot easier to manage. The one application is one PDF file, and we'll get those out for review and ready to go for the commission's review and move on with the cycle. Are there any questions or concerns about the eCivis or the presentation? Something you might have thought of as we're going through here? All right, I'm not hearing any comments. Is there anything in the chat here? Let me check the chat real quick. Okay, somebody asked me to put did you tell me to put my contact information in the chat? I know it's several places. I'll go ahead and put it in there. Oops. Oops, sorry. Put it all in one spot here.
I think it's in there, Ruben. So thanks for whoever did that.
Okay, yeah, it's oh, okay, looks like okay, thank you, Lizette, for putting it in there. I just saw it now.
Yeah, and thanks for this overview. It was really very helpful.
Okay, good, you're very welcome. Is there any other questions? No. Okay, like I said, let
me ask if we want to consult with you on a few questions. Should we make an appointment with you, or just give you a call, or drop you an email?
Depending on what you'd if it's gonna be like a long conversation, or you have like really something for me to review, we could set an appointment and maybe just send me a copy of whatever you'd like me to review prior to. A week would be helpful, but I've done it for a couple of days just to give me some lead time to look into it and maybe give you some good feedback on that. But no, at any time, I mean, if you have questions on anything, just give me a call. I'm available. I'll check email regularly and voice messages throughout the day. So
great.
yeah, I'll definitely get back to you within a day.
Great.
If something quick we can talk about, but yeah, we can set an appointment too as well. Like I said, I'm gonna make myself available for applicants just to help you guys get through this. I know it's a lot of information to go through, and you read through the manual. There's a lot of things that we do request for the application. So like I said, I'm here to help you write the best application you guys can.
Great, thanks.
Okay, I didn't have anything else to share unless anybody had anything they'd like to see again or a question on something. Right, chat's empty, so. Okay, well, thank you all for sticking with me through this presentation. Again, just contact me whenever, if you have any questions. I'll be happy to help you. You all have a good day. Thank you.